tuned into SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Hit the lights. It's Sunday night, and welcome to SEC Sunday Night on the Chief Sports Network. We are here every week with you to talk about what's happening in the world of sports in the SEC. I am Rob Williams. He is Craig McMichael, and as always, our friend Casey Cregan is here with us to tickle our ears. We'll get to the tickling later on, but first of all, Craig, welcome back, my friend. We know that you were at a big-time donor dinner last week, making sure that this show is flush with cash. It's good to have you back. How you doing?
He still doesn't
He's
understand.
muted. Apparently, whoever was at his dinner didn't give him enough to unmute the mic. I don't know.
Unmute the mic. Like
unmute the mic.
Oh, he's going to
We're
sing.
here. We're here. We're back. The donors are coming in. Everything is great. I am doing well. I had a wonderful day yesterday. Can't wait to talk a little SEC Media Days in the great city of Tampa. I'm looking for some food recommendations. Cregan, get yourself ready.
Bricados for a Cuban. I mean, like, do you even bricado, bro?
I haven't bricadoed. I went to, what is it, Yolo Island? What is that? The Yabo City?
Ybor City?
Ybor. I couldn't get it right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Leave me alone.
English is hard.
Which one of you, I know Casey does, but Craig, didn't you have Tampa recommendations before, or was that Orlando or Jacksonville?
No, I've got Tampa recommendations. I got the Armitage place. That was my. What is the look? They've got some drinks there if you want them. They've got food stalls. They've got good sushi. What more could you possibly want?
It was better when Hooters was there.
Well, maybe they're going to sponsor. I don't know. They're in trouble though right now.
Did you guys see that they're rebranding?
It's family friendly.
Yeah.
How's that going to go? You're going to take the kids?
Yeah, I'm taking them.
Not going to happen.
It's good life lessons at that place, though. Good life lessons.
Can we get John Daly there? Maybe to come back? They bring the one back in Augusta.
Clemson alumni owned. Just saying.
So what's going on? What's going on, Craig? How are we feeling about the SEC and SEC Media Days happening this week? I feel like we need to start the show there, go to our boards, maybe come back to it at the end. I had some questions on the Late Night Gamecock show about SEC Media Days, and I pointed all those fine folks over here to make sure that they know it's going to dominate our conversation tonight. I had Casey rank those days last week while you were out.
Gallivanting?
Yes, that is the word. Gallivanting up north. And there's an obvious winner for what the best day of the week is going to be from a fan standpoint. Your thoughts overall on the week?
It's got to be Monday. We've got Kentucky, Mizzou, OU, and Rocky Top. Who wouldn't want to be there on Monday? Actually, nobody. The actual winner, I do believe, is going to be Thursday.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Hale State and Sark. I want to see Sark and Kiff and see if they're buddies or if it's water under the bridge and everything's cool, or what is actually going to happen. Will let me get a microphone? That's the question.
They queued it up nicely because you have. And I said this to Casey last week, and I'll say it again. You obviously are going to get Pete Golding, and we had Leanne Herring on last week to talk about the Rebels. It was phenomenal. She did a great job. We went into recruiting and everything there, but you have Pete Golding before Lane, which is absolutely by design, so they can try to ensnare Golding in something that he says to then serve a softball up to Lane Kiffin and keep that fuel going, because week 3 is coming, and we need it to continue to stay hot. What do you guys, Casey? how is the city of, as Casey I think is frozen, but the fan is still moving. So it's a strange phenomenon. What are your thoughts on the city of Tampa once again welcoming SEC Media Days? I know a lot of our friends are going to be there. Our good friend Chris Marler is going to be there.
He's already there. He's lost 2 hotel keys.
What should people do? Oh, I missed that somehow. What should people do?
Yeah, that's usually what they say. You get 2 when they ask you, like, how many keys do you want? You say get 2, 1 to use, 1 to lose. I mean, that's common etiquette. But unless you're Chris Marler, Tampa's awesome. I'm guessing that it's probably at the convention center, which is right downtown. Back in the day when I lived there wasn't a lot to do. Downtown was a very sleepy downtown. People worked there, but then you left. Everything else, like the nightlife and anything, was not in downtown. But they have since 2015, they've since kind of rebranded the downtown area where it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars, a lot of apartments going up. So there's a lot more life going on in and around the convention center, which is right next door to the arena as well. So there's a ton of stuff to do, ton of great places to eat downtown. Of course, if you want to venture out, it is the strip club capital of the world. More strip clubs per capita than any other city in America. Probably not this audience, but just in case if you were out there. Maybe Hugh Freeze isn't coaching in the SEC anymore, so I think those places may be hurting for some money this week. But a great town, I love it. It's going to be warm. Don't bring any parkas there. Bring your bathing suits.
Can I say something that might irritate some people?
Don't you always?
Why the hell is the SEC doing their media days in Tampa Bay, Florida? How does that make any bit of sense?
Just Tampa.
Wait,
there's no bay.
Why? There's no bay. Did we get rid of that too?
No, the bay, but there's no bay in the town. It's just Tampa.
But why?
But
why are we in Tampa?
The Buccaneers did that to everybody, Casey.
They did.
I don't know. I just flew into Tampa.
Do you call
Bay
Massachusetts
Airport.
New England?
I can't spell
specifically Foxborough. Specifically, Foxborough, Massachusetts is New England.
Sorry, I keep interrupting Craig with his deep thoughts.
Listen, I've got deep thoughts for days, but Tampa Bay or Tampa or whatever the hell you call your city is not the space for SEC Media Days. We should be in Atlanta. Should be in Hoover. That's it.
What about Nashville? What about Dallas or Austin? Not Austin, but somewhere in Texas.
Is Lubbock available? Maybe Cody can write a check and
I think Hoover's too small for media days. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do in Hoover. There's nothing to do in Hoover.
Yeah, you drive to Birmingham.
Exactly. There's nothing to do in Hoover. I think Nashville and Atlanta are viable options.
I think it should be Atlanta, but
but the West,
even Dallas,
the West teams are going to keep. Yeah, I think Dallas. I think you rotate.
Would you go New Orleans?
Maybe. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, Marler would be okay with that.
I think just because it's in the state of Florida and people want to be there at this time of year, you're going somewhere that also has. I think you have family options if you're a coach and you're going to take your guys or you're going to take your family if you're in media and you're traveling over there. I mean, it's really a work trip and you're not going to get much time out in the rest of the world. If we're being honest, we're talking about
PJ, right? It's PJ in, PJ out.
Well, not if you're working. Not if you're working. I mean, come on, Craig.
Okay, no, if you're working. I'm sorry, I thought you were my coaches.
Our friend Craig Godwin over here said, I need a raise. And he's right. I can't afford a PJ. But yes, you're right. The coaches it's PJ in, PJ out. If you're working it, it's still a work trip. I don't know. Like, how much time do you really have to get out and about?
There's enough there, though, for you. Like, I'm sure the hotels that they're staying in are right there.
That's my point, though, Casey, is that does it matter the city? Because no matter what city, if we go Atlanta, Nashville, Dallas, New Orleans, Tampa, name your other major city in Florida, to be honest, there's going to be stuff right around the hotels. All you need is a couple of restaurants and bars in the hotel area, and it works because you don't have.
Does Orlando? But if you're in Florida, does Orlando make more sense? Because
sure, I can make that argument.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the convention center there is on International Drive, so yeah, it could make sense too.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? The Rosemont Center down there?
That's there. Rosen Center.
Rosen Center. I knew I had been there. I didn't get the right name. It's a great Brazilian restaurant not far from there.
There
by the
is
way.
a little
Yeah.
little thing with the thing.
With the thing and the thing.
Fantastic podcasting, by the way. I'm glad so many people are watching us live as I'm watching the numbers climb. But if you happen to be doing this on podcast later on, Casey is
Sorry.
turning his hand over when he says the
Sorry,
thing, saying
yeah.
Brazilian restaurant. Try to put it together.
I was just
Okay.
doing 6, not 7.
Yeah,
I'll get
that's
it for
it.
you. I
Just
got
the
it for you.
6.
But no,
All right,
but at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, Georgia and Florida are going to be playing in Tampa, not Tampa Bay. They're going to be playing in Tampa. When I think of SEC cities, Tampa is not it. Nashville, I think, was fine. They had a good party there a couple of years ago. Good friends Dan Wetzel and Pat Forty were there. I may have bought a round for the boys that night and sent the round over for them. But like, I just don't think it. Are we going to go to Oklahoma City? We're going to make sure we get to Oklahoma. I mean, are we going to St. Louis now? Like, just to make sure. I mean, what are we doing here?
But I like that they're moving it around. Why not? Gives more credence to other areas. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, if you go every year, I think that it gives you a little something different to look at. What's interesting to me is, are we going to get one of these crazy questions from a message board poster in disguise who may or may not have some little blog site that has 2 or 3 posts on it and they got credentialed to get in?
Travis?
I mean, Chris Marlar does that every year, right? He asks that kind of loaded question.
We know what he's going to do, and we're looking forward to him next week to come on here and give us something. I made sure that he was aware that he's got to save one joke. He can tell all his other jokes. I don't even care if it's a headliner. We just need one untold, one fresh virgin joke. One joke.
Now we all know if it's coming out of Marlar's mouth, it's not going to be a virgin joke.
Well, I just meant
because we're going to have to
untold,
put our earmuffs on.
untouched by other
They're
audience.
PG when he's asking them at media days.
Yeah, that's an environment where they have to be.
Well,
He can be professional when he wants to be.
All right. It's time for It Just Means More. Genius. Boards provided by our good friend MBG. And here with us every week, the producer of the Message Board Genius podcast, award-winning, silky smooth, here to tickle our ears, the sultry tones of Casey Cregan, the voice known around the world, not just the college football world, but the world at large. Because when we hear Casey on the mic and we see the fans spinning in the background, we know it's time to sit back and listen to those boards. Let's start out hot. Texags on the board.
Oh, Billy Lucci. Shout out to our friend Billy Lucci. MBG says Texas A&M doesn't do cheers. Therefore, they have no need for cheerleaders. Old Ag 68 says we don't do cheers. We do yells. Therefore, no need for cheerleaders. Simple logic with some personal preference thrown in.
Aren't yell leaders just cheerleaders?
Go ahead, Craig. You know you want this one.
I know, but aren't yell leaders cheerleaders?
I kind of think they are.
They're. I mean, that's to me that's what it is. I just think it's interesting. I know, I think they are. I think they bring in an interesting tradition. My biggest question: are we going to hear something spicy from Mike Elko this week? Like, I feel like he's got the #1 recruiting class. He made the college football playoff last year. Obviously didn't find the end zone, but it was windy that day. But does he bring some yell leaders instead of football players?
No. And here's the thing. As you make an attempt to shoot a shot at Mike Elko,
I would never shoot a shot at Mike Elko. I'm the biggest Aggies fan I know.
You want to know the problem with Mike Elko?
He coaches at Texas A&M.
That's exactly it. That is verbatim what was about to come out of my mouth. Almost everything he says is accurate, and it gets hated on because a lot of people dislike Texas A&M. I expect him to say something, maybe profound is too big of a word, but I do expect him to say something thought-provoking or like, hey, that's a great point of a direction that we should go with the game or the conference. And it may just get dismissed and not looked at in the way that we would expect it to. But we'll get to that in a minute when we break down our predictions and questions. Okay, I'm looking forward to a phenomenal freezing cold takes moment from you, my friend. All right, Georgia SC rant.
Oh, another favorite. MBG says Georgia has never cheated. Demo. We'll just call him D. He
D.
says off-season topic: UGA cheats. As we've discussed, UGA's arrests are down this off-season, so we're reaching for interesting topics. Here's one I want to fight about. Someone prove me wrong that UGA has never cheated. They've never paid players under the table, never used corrupt booster networks to direct players to the program or hand out jobs, etc. Someone give me one factual data point to prove me wrong. And no, Rush Probst hearsay doesn't count.
Can I ask
love
a question?
the Rush Probst, reset
Yeah.
there.
So prove me wrong. Georgia has never cheated. Are we trying to prove that Georgia
We're trying to prove that they have cheated.
Yeah. Okay. Well, go ahead, Rob, because you like to poke at my poor little dogs.
It feels relatively easy to me. I'm going to be honest with you. Like that feels like a layup.
Yeah.
It feels like a layup, not because of Georgia specifically, but because everybody cheats in some. Like you're telling me that pre-NIL that almost every team didn't have their some kind of under the table payment in some way, shape, or form. The McDonald's bag
back-to-back
era.
national championships with a walk-on quarterback.
You're pointing to individual data points that have nothing to do with other people on the team. There's
did we even have anybody else that got drafted that year?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the defense definitely didn't have any stars.
Yeah, Roquan Smith. I think I know.
Chicago Bears.
Look,
he was decent.
Look, I don't think that I even need to point to one specific data point. And I think that when we talk about message boards and we break down the different type, I love this because we can break down film or we can break down posters on the board. Like we can go either direction here. When we're breaking down message board posters, this guy is a rage bait specialist, and he said it in the post. It's been quiet. They haven't had a lot of
I love this
arrests.
guy, by the way.
We
I can feel this guy.
about.
Like this is why my posts get deleted on Reddit at times. I'm just irritating people.
Speaking of irritating,
hang on, real quick before we go to Texas Tech. Mr. D friend, Casey and Rob have not, to be clear, give me one specific data point that they cheated. They're just using alleged facts and squandry data. So you know what? The dogs are clean.
There you have it.
MBG says Texas Tech to the SEC. Inside the Red Raiders, Blake65 says, here's another thing I forgot to mention in my previous post. ESPN has the rights to ACC. SEC will happen, in my opinion. So come on, boys. Texas Tech to the SEC. Who says no?
What is the point that we're making here about ESPN?
They have the rights to ACC.
And?
That's it.
And what else do they have the rights to?
SEC.
Okay, I'm just a little confused what he's trying to point out. Sorry, I missed it.
It's clear as day, Rob. Texas Tech to the SEC.
Well, I get that. I get that point. I just don't understand what ESPN has to do with it. If we're talking about
on it,
do we think anything
has an option?
I don't think the ACC is an option. Do you?
I mean, no, but Blake 65 does.
I didn't think Cal was an option.
That's also true. All right, fair enough.
I love California.
We know
bear.
You do.
It's got a bear on it.
Not that bear.
The Calgorithm. I can't wait for the
Calgorithm, baby. Anyway, the real question about Texas Tech. They're not going anywhere, are they?
No.
Where would they go?
That's case in point. I don't think they are going anywhere. They're good for the Big 12, and they're going to be okay. I mean,
I think if they were to go somewhere, the ACC doesn't feel like an option. So your options would be Big 10 or SEC, and I don't think Greg Sankey cares to have them as it stands right now. They don't need any more real estate in Texas.
Especially
they do like to cheat though, so the Big 10 could be an option. See what's going on in Ann Arbor.
Well, my next question was, what about the Big 10? But the Big Ten has kind of shown that they sort of have a quote unquote standard of program. And I'm not sure the acceptance rate in Lubbock is going to meet the Big Ten standard. At what point does that wall get broken down, though, as we move forward? That is the question.
I think Texas A&M is your better spot for the Big Ten than Texas Tech.
And that'll never happen now that they're in the SEC. They're not
No.
leaving. Okay.
It would be so funny if they left again and then Texas followed them again. And won again.
This is your last one, Casey.
All right, this is save the best for last. Alabama doesn't need a coach that is going to get pushed around like a sissy like Kalen DeBoer. They need someone tough like Lane or Dabo, says MBG. Then we go to Derrick Henry's cleats on Bama 247. And he's responding to Bama in Mont G, who says, every time someone posts something dumb like this, I ask the same question. Who would you rather have that we would have a good chance of getting? This Derrick Henry's cleat says Lane Kiffin, Dabo, somebody with some moxie and a tough attitude that won't get pushed around like a sissy.
Okay.
I agree.
If you're Alabama, I'll entertain it for a minute because I know Craig wants to entertain it.
Who are we going for?
Let's hypothetically say that Kalen DeBoer gets fired in 2026. Who does Alabama go after? For the record, I don't believe he'll be fired in 2026. That's just my personal opinion as we sit here today on June 19th, July 19th of 2026. Craig, who are you going for if you're Bama?
That's a good question.
You're not. You're not. There's not one. That's the answer to the question.
Lanning gets that job.
I think
Lanning.
so.
I think it's Lanning. But then, are you in the same situation you were with Florida, where you went and got an old Pac-12 coach? Oh wait, he's in the Big Ten now.
Yep.
Pac-12, Pac-6. Sorry, I'm
Tupac.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's Lanning. I was trying to put my mind and trying to wrap my mind around. Is there a college coach, or I'm sorry, an NFL coach that would be good there? And my thought,
Jeff Hafley.
He's been there, done that.
He was
not great at BC.
He was.
He was. I liked him a lot too. He was on the coach's show that year. He got the BC job,
but I liked him a lot.
Were you gonna say?
I was gonna say like he got run out after what 2 years at BC. Yeah, but BC's like an impossible. Okay, you wanna know who you go get?
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Fran Brown's gonna go 10-2 this year, and he's gonna make sure he's got a backup quarterback just in case. Fran Brown will go to Alabama.
That's a homer pick, Georgia State boy.
Former Rutgers boy.
I think I don't know. I think it probably is Lanning. Here's the thing that I think is totally unfair to Kalen DeBoer. Whoever gets this job after him, whether it's next year or in 5 years or whatever, is going to do better than him because the pressure release valve is going to be let out unless they go on a skid like the Three Mikes, and it takes a while to get back up to the top. We've talked about this fan base.
Poor Courtney.
This Tuscaloosa fan base sees things differently because they've been at the top twice. I mean, the top for a long time, twice, from Bear Bryant and then Nick Saban. And they had some years in between there where they were highly competitive on the national scene as well. So I think that when we look historically at the guy who follows the guy, even if they're not bad, the recalibrating of expectation makes them get cut loose. And then the next guy coming in a lot of times has a lot more success because you let some pressure out of that balloon. And so I do think that the next person has an opportunity if it's the right person, and maybe Dan Lanning is that guy. But I think that Kalen DeBoer overall, if we still look at his career, is a top 5 coach nationally, and I'll argue with the wall.
Billy Napier might be available by then, though.
Billy. Yeah.
Just saying.
Is there an NFL coach that you like? Is it? I mean, do we do the old trope with Joe Brady?
I don't know.
But,
I mean, you could get Joe Brady probably now, right? Because he was outward in saying he didn't like to recruit, right? Now you just sick the dogs, get a GM on in your program,
and that's kind of my thought is like you go after because what you need, right? You need roster management now. That's the key. It's not necessarily recruiting. You're still going to get a couple of guys that are going to be doing the recruiting, but it's roster management. What about Jim Harbaugh? Do you think he'd want to take one more crack at college football?
no, he's done.
He's done. I think he's got to show
Michael Ray
still.
wants to know: will we see Brian Kelly back in coaching next year?
Yes.
This is teed up for you, Craig.
No.
I think yes. Also, I agree with Casey.
No. I no. Where is he going to go? Is it Cincinnati? Is he going to go back to Cincinnati?
I mean,
if they make a change,
that level.
I mean, Chip Kelly's at offensive coordinator at Northwestern, so don't put it past
that level.
anybody.
Yeah, but he'll come back. He wants to coach. He's going to come back. Someone will hire him. Bowling Green. I mean, let's go. Maxion, baby.
It's Eddie George's job right now.
I'm just saying, somebody like Bowling Green.
No, I know. I'm just.
You live up there, so you like actually know who coaches these teams and stuff. But
I don't even think it has to be a MAC team. I do think that it could be another Power 4 team. It's just not going to be an SEC or a Big Ten team, probably.
He would. Could you imagine?
The other two.
Sorry, I keep doing that to you.
I was just going to say the Big 12 or the ACC. I mean, you call it, Casey. Which one of those guys? Which one of those?
Could you imagine his accent if he went to Rutgers?
Yeah, it would. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be amazing.
I would love for us to get that clip.
What about Chestnut Hill? Like in reality, Bill O'Brien is on a sinking ship at Boston College. I think
anybody is there though.
And I was going to say, and I think Bill O'Brien is a phenomenal coach. I don't think it has anything to do with him.
Maybe he can go coach at Alabama. He's already been there.
Yeah.
But when Brent Key goes and takes a NFL job, maybe Georgia Tech opens for Brian Kelly.
That could get interesting. That would be a fun spot for him.
Who was the
Carolina might be open.
The thing is too, North Carolina, yeah. The thing is too, Craig, I think that Brian Kelly in the ACC could actually have a lot of success. And that would just ravage the haters. But I think
you going to have more success though than SMU? I think SMU and Miami are the top of the ACC right now. We're going to see what Clemson's good. We're going to see what Clemson's going to do. But like I think that 4, 5, 6 spot is kind of up for grabs right now. And Georgia Tech may be there. I'm going to be interested to see what Brent Key does without his offensive coordinator, without his quarterbacks coming through. But I just like, what is success? And you got Franklin, right? And James Franklin apparently won the
that
offseason.
one too, by the way. Watch out for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, interested to see what he does. Maybe not year 1, but year 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other questions too is like, what is Tony Elliott going to be this year? I think that was a question I wrote on last word. I had to rank the ACC coaches, and Tony Elliott was a tough one. Had 2 or 3 losing seasons before last year. Like he was basically on the hot seat, and there was a lot of things that happened at Virginia that were out of his control, and I think made that job more difficult. I think Bo Prabula there is probably going to be helpful and beneficial, but I think that is the interesting point. But you look around, I think Brian Kelly fits at a Boston College. Something small. I mean, he is from that area. That's where he grew up before he went to Grand Valley State and won all those D2 national championships. When
Fran Brown goes, according to you, to Bama, then somebody's got to take the Cuse job. That might be good for him. All right, Casey, I have 2 things before we get you out of here really quick. Number 1, what was your FIFA World Cup experience today? I know you've been locked. How did you decide to view it?
Oh, I watched it with my son and my wife and my dog. Literally, I joked with my mom that even the dog was locked in. We enjoyed it. A little disappointing and I don't know if I wanted a winner. Like I wasn't sure. I wanted whoever was losing in the game to come back and win.
Yeah.
So I kind of found myself pulling for Argentina late, and they almost scored twice. But a little disappointed in Argentina. Like I knew their style was not going to match Spain, but they weren't good. Messi wasn't good today at all. So really, really, really fun World Cup overall for any of the novice soccer fans or even the diehards. I think it was a really really well played World Cup, really well hosted World Cup by all three of the nations, and probably the rightful winner, if we're honest.
What happened yesterday? 10 goals.
It was amazing. That was the best game I've watched.
Was it just like pressure's gone, everything's out, we just let it all hang out?
So both teams started at least 8 newbies.
Yep.
So and I think it was France didn't play with any defenders in the first half. I mean, I say that half jokingly, like they didn't play with their normal three center backs in the back. They played with guys playing back there, but it was open, and England just cut through them like butter. And then the second half, kind of similarly, France put in a couple of their dudes again, and Dembele came in and it just opened it up, and it made it exciting. And France probably should have scored twice more to go up in that game before a penalty kind of took all the wind away. But it was one of the most fun games I've watched ever in international soccer.
All right, one thing I wanted to point out here as we get Casey out of here and head to our break here. Craig was out last week, but he still picked the boards as he does every week. I want to make sure that's clear. And he teed me and Casey up with a South Carolina versus Clemson debate. And I want to point out, as I did last week with him on the air, that the recruiting battle that he teed us up to debate was actually a Clemson-Georgia battle that the Tigers won over Craig's Bulldogs. And Casey, we appreciate you being here as always.
Ouch.
On SEC Sunday Night. We'll be right back after this to work our way through all 4 days, and Craig and I will give you the questions we think are the most important heading into SEC Media Days.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Oh, man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete recovering from injury or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go.
This is SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome back to SEC Sunday Night on the Chief Sports Network. I'm Rob Williams. He is Craig McMichael. And tomorrow, SEC Media Days begins. And so we are here to kind of break it down for you. We know we got some new people in the chat, or maybe some non-frequent flyers, people we've seen before, fans and frequent guests on the Chief Sports Network shows. We want to welcome everybody in. Thousands of you watching with us tonight as we get ready to break down SEC Media Days. And I know Craig is covering it closely. I know he's writing it up. And we're going to talk about the questions that are the most poignant as we work our way in. So day one, Craig, you kind of mentioned before, you get Texas A&M, or sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing, but you get Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. Of those 4 teams, Craig, which one is the most intriguing to you before we even look at any questions? Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee.
So for juiciest soundbite, I'm going Drink in Mizzou because Drink will have something to say, and it's gonna run counter to whatever we want.
Yep, I agree.
I want to hear from the new guy in Lexington.
I knew you were gonna say that.
We picked him 3-9 this year, and I hate that we picked him 3-9.
You wanted them to be good so bad. They're your dark horse.
I so badly want them to be good.
Tank.
I want them to be like 6 or 7 wins this year, and I don't know how it's going to happen.
I think
if Sam Levitt maybe went to Lexington instead of Baton Rouge. Did you hear he's not going to LSU? He's not going to Tampa with LSU. By the way, what are we doing, Lane? We'll save that for Thursday. Sorry, but no, I'm curious to hear about Kentucky, and I want to hear the vision. It's been quiet, they've done a good job in the portal, but I want to hear that vision, and I want to hear what Drinkowitz says. Like that's the biggest thing. The Big 12 was all about Monster Energy and Cody Campbell taking up all of the air. What's the storyline from the ACC? Pat Narduzzi had some shots fired. I think he was saying that the ACC is better than the Big 10, which, he was a defensive coordinator in the Big 10 for a while, but I don't know if that was quite as accurate. But
is James Franklin a story?
If you ask James Franklin, it was a story.
I just mean him in general moving to the ACC. I feel like is a talking point for that conference at least.
I think it is.
It's because it's intriguing, not even because it's he's this great coach. I think he's done. You called him mid-game James, and we've seen what he can do over the course of his career. And there's been mild success there. He was the head coach at Penn State. We know what he did in the SEC at Vanderbilt. But there's at least intrigue, I think, when you're talking about from a media day standpoint. Is that the story from the ACC? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm struggling with that. But what is Brent Venables going to say? He's got John Mateer coming back for year 2.
Yeah,
he's got Ben Arbuckle coming back as the OC. We know the defense is going to be good.
Yeah, top 5 good.
Yeah, like top 5 good. But I kind of want to hear from that. And then again, Josh Heupel. I feel like he's going to be the forgotten one out of the 4.
I don't know. I think that I think Josh Heupel is the one I'm looking the most forward to because there's going to be 2 questions that come at Josh Heupel, and it's going to be let's talk about Chaz Coleman and what went down, and who's your quarterback going to be. And I think just how he responds to both of those questions, he's going to give the PR answer on both accounts. But we as media people who are analyzing these coaches' every word and syllable and tone are going to dig into the way that he answers those questions. What's his body language? How does he respond? Is he bristled? We didn't expect Brett Yormark to be bristled up at questions about the quarterback.
Stand up and ask your questions. Stand up and ask your. What was that? Stop it, Brett.
I don't know what was going on out there, but there'll be something that throws it off at SEC Media Days too. And Heupel is one that I have my eye on day 1 for sure.
All right, but it's not a bad way to go. Like I said, I hope we get Drink right off the start. I think that's your shot of espresso to get it going because he's just going to come out and just say some goofy stuff.
And I do think it's a great opening day. You know what I mean? It's not overly juicy, but you're right about Drink. And it's a great. Casey said last week it's a great warm up, and I think that he's exactly right. It is a good warm up.
Yep. No, I think so. Like I said, I Big Blue Nation. Something's going to happen there. We're going to be wrong. We're going to be. I was wrong on that one.
Okay, a lot of intrigue on day 2 for the 2 of us specifically, but I don't think that's the big story there. Auburn, Georgia, South Carolina, Vanderbilt on Tuesday. Who are you most looking forward to, Craig, out of that group?
Clark Lee and Vanderbilt.
Get out of here. I know that's sarcasm. It has to be. I'm not looking at you because I'm putting out the live tweets, but I know that you're smirking right now.
No, I want to know how Jerry Curtis is doing, how he's evolved, what has Jerry Kill and Tim Beck done to make sure to bring him along. I said it when we covered Vandy, a couple of weeks ago. What are they now that Diego's gone? They were pretty good. They were very good last year, but they were average the year before. They ask Alabama all about that. But what is their personality? The reason why Vandy was good, the reason why Vandy did something is because Diego gave them a personality, they gave them a swagger.
Yeah.
Will they have that swagger this year? And so I say that as a bit of a smart ass, but it's like, what is that? What is the personality going to be of Vandy? Because that's going to tell me right away if we're going to go back to 3-9, which I think we both had them going in.
Yeah, I agree with you. It feels like a nothing burger. It feels like Vandy's just back to tagged onto the end of the sentence. Kirby Smart's not going to say anything that's noteworthy. In fact, our friend on the message board just a few minutes ago mentioned there's been fewer arrests this offseason than your average Georgia offseason. So still a few, but fewer. So I don't know that there's really anything to get into with him.
He's back-to-back SEC champions.
Right, but that's not a headline that gets a lot going at SEC Media Days. It is same old. He's going to stick to the process. We both expect Georgia to be very, very good this year.
Yep.
They're experienced. Gunnar Stockton is underrated, and I think that they function best that way. It has almost a Stetson Bennett feel to it, but this is a quarterback that came in with a little bit of notoriety. He's just kind of his playing style flies under the radar.
Yep.
And so I think that kind of fits the bill for what Kirby Smart wants to do. He's not going to rock the boat. He's going to come in and say what your par for the course type of statement.
My thought is Kirby always has something that he wants to say. Like there's always something that he starts with. Like he wants to set an agenda. He wants to have a talking point. And I think one of the questions that I would ask if I was going to SEC Media Days and I was in Tampa, I would ask about the dip in recruiting. We saw a slide back. Now, a slide back for Georgia is going from 2 to 3 to 6 or 7. And it is well known that Kirby Smart and Georgia do not pay freshmen. They say you're going to get your money. You're just not going to get it as a freshman. Go take Jared Curtis. You take him to Vandy because he got some dollars. He got some playing time. And I just wonder, with all of the commentary going around about NIL, the college sports, the college sports bill that's going through the Senate and the House, does Kirby give us some juicy sound bites?
Maybe on that point. I want to ask this question later on about the mouthpiece, the elder statesman, the one who speaks for the league, for the betterment of the game. Who is that coach? And we've both kind of said, it's probably not Kirby because it's just not his style. And he is very focused on Georgia football and not SEC football, probably as he should be. But there may be a point that he gets to make here, and it's about that paying freshman policy that he has. The other thing that I would say is when teams slide in recruiting, sometimes, and this will lead me to South Carolina, sometimes you need to look at the transfer portal. That's not the case with Georgia. It's not like they went out and just filled their positions elsewhere and didn't do it through the high school ranks. One team that does tend to do that, though, is Shane Beamer's Gamecocks. As you're probably going to get a top 30, maybe top 20-ish recruiting class from a high school standpoint on average for them, somewhere in the 20s. But then you're also going to have somewhere in the probably the teens or low 20s from the transfer portal. And you can kind of see that Beamer's philosophy has been, let's win the recruiting battles we need to win from the high school level, but then go and they've had smaller classes go fill some positions in the transfer portal. Interesting. I think Shane Beamer is just a fun listen in general because he's kind of the everyman almost in terms of
he can get salty
from the conversation piece, and he can get salty. I don't really expect him to unless somebody provokes something with a question, which there's always a chance for that with every one of these coaches, to be honest, that at SEC Media Days that somebody asks an insulting question and it just rubs them the wrong way. But I just don't know other than the hot seat conversation, there's a whole lot of juice to the squeeze with Shane Beamer either, as there's talent on the roster, and it's just kind of prove it time for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, well, and I think you're going to get a lot from Lenoris, and you're going to hear a lot about Kendall Browse and how that offense is going to cook. What about Alex Golsh? Like, again, another guy who's, I think, bringing some energy to Auburn. I think that's what's going to be most exciting here is the fact, like, Hugh was kind of low energy. Ryan Harson just was not a fit. Golsh has been a little bit exciting, and I would expect him, and he's going to probably bring Brown with him and a couple of his other guys. That, I think, could be one where we get a couple of sound bites from.
This is the one that I'm looking forward to the most, because I think there's a lot of questions when we look at them. He's bringing seniors Champ Anthony, Byron Brown, and Alex McPherson with him to Tampa.
Yep.
This is Craig.
Return to Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. We are always a little like strangely high on Auburn. And we proved it again, even with a coaching change, that we're like, dude, but they have all these pieces and it looks like it should work. And historically, we have this, like, I think built into us, the success that we've seen them have in spurts throughout history, and the now fading like house of horrors that is Jordan Hare, right? So I think that there's almost an expectation that they can't stay down forever, at least for me.
Right.
And so when you look at the talent, it's like, well, maybe it's going to pop this time. I do really like Alex Golsh. I think that he is a guy who can get it going there. We saw what he was able to do at USF. Overachieved. Byron Brown is one of those guys that has some unique abilities about him. How does it translate to the SEC week in and week out? A lot of people are going to point, well, he beat Florida last year. Well, 1 week is a whole lot different than what we see with this schedule. It is grueling with a 9-game SEC schedule. So, but we're still talking season, Craig. We're not quite turning the page yet. We're at the peak of talking season, and I think Alex Golsh is my star of Tuesday, because I think that he's going to have the most opportunity.
I would have one question for your Coach Golsh. I'd be like, Coach Golsh, Kirk Michael, last word on college football, SEC Sunday night. What advice would you have for Arch Manning on how to beat the Gators?
Yeah, that is a good question. That is a good question, because they're going to have to get it going. And speaking, actually, we're not quite there yet. Let's go to day 3.
Not quite.
Bama, Florida, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. Now we're getting juicy, Craig. Now we're getting juicy.
Summerall's going to win it. Summerall's going to win the day.
I think so too. He's a motivator, and he's a good speaker. And here's what I'm gonna say as well when we talk about Florida. Everybody wants to like Florida, seemingly from the national scene. Everybody wants Florida to be good. Every single year they get a preseason nod to be up there. They're in year 1 of a new coach, and they're a preseason like top 15 team by most accounts right now.
Yeah.
I agree. And the schedule is brutal again, and we don't know who the
brutal, but not
is.
as bad. Not the off season. The non-conference isn't quite as bad, but
True.
I do.
But you don't have a proven quarterback, even if we know who it is. So that tells me right there, like, top 15 is probably a little much.
Yeah, I would agree, but like, I think if you look at the 4 coaches that were hired last year, somewhere else probably got the highest ceiling. I feel like we've got.
Wait a minute. Are we counting Golding in this conversation? Are we counting Lane Kiffin in this conversation?
I'm talking about the new guys, not the guys that were kind of there.
Yeah, okay. I knew what you meant, but I need to.
Yeah, I'm talking about the American Conference coaches, the American coaches. I think like Summerall to me is going to be exciting. I think Golding's going to be boring. Golding doesn't have a whole hell of a lot to say. He's probably like, I think
they're going to
bait
him.
Be there.
They're going to bait him.
Marler's going to be there for the cuss count because he might cuss just about as much as Chris does. But Kalen DeBoer doesn't say a lot. He's not going to say a ton. He's pretty even. You're going to ask about the quarterback with him as well. I'm there to see Summerall, and then Elko will be there with the Yell Leaders. So I think that'll be great. We can find out what are the new cheers for 2026. What are the different things that we're going on there?
Okay, yeah, and the other one there, Craig. Obviously, you mentioned you mentioned briefly Kalen DeBoer. What can they get him to say about quarterback? What can they get him to say about like expectations? That one's interesting to me, just because it's Alabama and the Alabama contingent of people that will be there asking questions mixed with the national group of people that are going to try to like figure out where the holes in the ship are. That one has some intrigue, but you're right, he doesn't say much. This is a Summerall day followed by Pete Golding, because I think they're going to tee Pete Golding up and try to get him to say literally anything they can say to Lane Kiffin the following day.
Anything about LSU, anything about Lane. But I wonder with like Kalen DeBoer, okay, if I'm asking that question, Coach, how do you get your guys up for a regular game, like just a regular game? We've seen South Carolina not go well the last 2 years. Yeah. We've seen Vandy be a struggle. And then you look at last year, 3 of their last 4 games, it was just no call, no show. So it's like, what are you doing to maintain this high expectations? Because it was this, again, we've talked about this before. It's the same issue he had at Washington, where like he won some games. He played for a national championship at Washington, but there were a lot of sleepers, a lot of like, Apple Cup heroics that needed to come out and that needed to happen in order to kind of get that going. And we're just saying, like, that's not going to fly at Bama. So it's like, what do those changes look like, Coach?
Well, here's the other thing that I think if you look at Washington that went really well, and if you look back at his days as a coordinator at Indiana that went well, and this is in the Indiana era where it wasn't like we weren't expecting them to even do anything.
Yep.
Is Michael Penix. When they have the quarterback that fits the system, it works really well. Here's my hang up, and I've said this time and time again. I absolutely love Keelan Russell. Mm-hmm. I think he's a stud. But J.C. Sherbert has pointed out to me and to all of you, as I've said it on here before, he doesn't necessarily fit their system, and they haven't proven. When I say they, I mean Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer. They haven't proven that they know what to do with a quarterback with this skill set.
Yep.
Can this be the year that they figure out how to accurately use the quarterback who, by the way, can throw the ball really well, but also has a mobile option in Keelan Russell? That's the question for me. And somehow you got to figure out how to squeeze that in with Kalen DeBoer, not who's winning this quarterback battle. That's too vanilla, I think. My question would be more of what's the plan to utilize Keelan Russell when and if he is put in a starting role.
Yeah. No, I agree. And this is make or break for him this year. He either goes to the NFL or he gets fired. I don't know if he comes back next year.
What if they win 10 games and what if they do exactly what they did last year?
Is it the right 10 games?
What if it's exactly what they did last year and they win one playoff game?
That's what they did last year. They won one playoff game. They beat
That's
Oklahoma.
What I'm saying. What if they do that again this year? Do you think he gets fired for that?
No, but I think he might leave and go to the NFL.
Yeah, well,
you can't tell me he wasn't looking at Michigan. The reason he is not in Ann Arbor is because they won that game in Norman.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't see it. I see like 9-3 something like this year, maybe just missing the playoff. I just don't. I don't see he's got enough there.
Okay, last day. This is where it gets super fun for us because we obviously mentioned LSU. You also have Mississippi State and you have Texas on the last day. There's so many directions we can go. I can't even get words out, Craig. You start. What's the biggest thing that jumped off the page to you on Thursday?
Hey, Jeff Levy, can you count to 6?
You know what I find interesting about day 4 is that Jeff Lebby's going to get left behind. But in the tweets that we pre-write, and you do a phenomenal job putting all this together, it makes it super easy for me. You didn't even include Arkansas in the tweet because you talk about getting left behind. Does Ryan Silverfield get any like FaceTime on Thursday?
I knew I was missing somebody, and I totally wherever I got.
Is this thing just overlooking Lebby and Silverfield, and this becomes Sark and Lane on Thursday? Is that the only thing worth tuning in for?
So Lebby's going to be at like 7 a.m. and Silverfield's going to be at like 7:30, and then it's going to be like, okay, let's go get brunch, and then come back for the Lane and Sark show with Arch.
I actually love so you'll have the questions for Silverfield because he's new. So you'll have your standard startup questions. Lebby, I think, with Zach Arnett coming back is a good talking point. And then the quarterback with Kamario Taylor, I think, is an electric athlete and good quarterback that gives you something else to talk about. So you have an offensive and defensive clear talking point for the Bulldogs as well. Then you go to Texas and LSU. Obviously, Texas has major expectations. What are you doing with Arch Manning? There's last year maybe was a little premature in some of the hype, but now it's time for the hype, and Arch kind of grew into himself over the course of last year.
Yep.
What do they do on defense? Will Muschamp is now the defensive coordinator in Austin. Holy cow, Boom is back. What's going on? Like, there's so much to talk about there. Not even to mention the just general off-season he said, she said of the drama club.
You know there's going to be Texas Tech questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then when we get past that, oh, by the way, Lane Kiffin also gets to talk. And what questions are you not going to ask Lane Kiffin? Because he is the talking point of the SEC, whether we like it or not, one way or another. He's the one that everybody talks about. And he's the one that's he will give the sound bites on that day. I'll say one more thing, Craig, and then I'll turn it over to you. We mentioned last year, we both agreed he had become the post-Saban era voice for the coaches.
Yep.
Because he was really advocating for here are the shifts and changes that need to happen. Now he has vilified himself with the move to LSU. Does his voice still carry the same weight? Try to remove your bias and look, has it cooled off enough to where he's going to say some things that are going to endear the hearts of SEC fans once again, and where they go, as much as I don't like what you did, what you said is intriguing and probably correct.
So I'm worried we're going to get boring Lane. And I'm talking about the guy that was in Nashville a couple of years ago. He had the blue when he had the blue jacket on, he didn't have the tie on. And just like sometimes Lane has an ability to just become dry and just kind of there. And I think Lane does his best work on the sideline and behind his cell phone. Doesn't always translate into this. And I know like he's kind of like the voice of it, but a lot of that is that when he's talking, it's not necessarily at a media day like this. Lane's going to get so many questions about Ole Miss, about the day in September, about what's happening, what's going on. I think he's going to be pretty bland. I think he's going to talk about the excitement of having Coach O back. I question, in a sense, what are we doing with Sam Leavitt? I think he's been hurt most of the offseason, but he's not coming. We spent a lot of money on this kid, and he's not coming. He's not coming with you to SEC Media Days.
Is it protection?
That
is it
protection
like, hey,
from what?
Well, you just protecting him from the media firestorm. Like, hey, let's keep your head in a good place. Let's just not even give them a chance to take shots. You just keep your head down and keep grinding to make sure you're healthy and you got the playbook and we're ready to go. Come August, can we just keep you out? You're
the Rob. You're getting $5 million and you're the quarterback at LSU. You were arguably the number one quarterback in the transfer portal. There's no hiding or saying you're not there.
Sure. I mean, I agree with you, but I've had conversations with SEC assistant coaches, even in the past month or two, where they've talked to me about head coaches doing a similar thing with other players, where it's like, hey, we don't want to shake his head up right now. So keep him out of the media. Keep him away. Make sure he stays off of his phone. Don't let him read his own press clippings, all the cliches. And if you think, hey, this could go sideways because of how the offseason went down, let's just keep our quarterback. And I don't know Sam Levitt, and I haven't spent a lot of time watching Sam Levitt in press conference settings.
Yep.
So I don't know exactly how he handles that. And he was really young when Arizona State made the run a couple of years ago. How has he grown? What has the move to Baton Rouge done? What did his year last year where there was a little bit of a struggle and he battled through the injuries and so on and so forth? How did that season him? There's a lot of personal, like we sometimes forget that these are people with lives and families and the whole deal, right? And
Right.
Is there an element here where the LSU coaching staff or Lane Kiffin or whoever, and I'm just speculating purely here, but could it be a situation where they go, yeah, let's just leave him home so that we don't shake it up?
I'm hard pressed to see it. I really am. I'm hard pressed to see it because you know who is going to be there, which we haven't mentioned yet, is your boy Arch.
For sure.
And
and I think that he is the most ready-made press conference player in the country. And this is where the Manning thing matters. I don't think that it mattered so much in his on-field play. Sure, he can talk to his family. Sure, he's been around the game. Sure, he has that kind of like coach's son type of deal because he grew up in this football family where he just understands it and knows how to get out there and grit it. But, that's the same as every other coach's son across the country. It doesn't necessarily change much that his uncles won a bunch of Super Bowls in terms of on the field. But how to handle the off the field stuff, I think, is where he has a leg up on everybody because he's a Manning, because he's always been in some level of spotlight. And so he doesn't really know a world where you don't have to handle something like that. So that's where I think it does bode well for him. And I expect good things from Arch this week. Could be boring.
I think so.
He could just give the easy answer.
You know who we haven't talked about at all? Greg Sankey.
Yeah, that's probably. Is he the most interesting character in this whole thing because he was the most powerful man in college football? And I think we can agree that we both think he's taken some L's here in the past few months to a year. How does he portray? Last year at SEC Media Days, when he got up and talked, when he was done giving that opening address, we were like, oh my gosh, he's got a grip on everything. And some of that has just kind of unraveled over the past year. Can he reestablish confidence in the SEC faithful in what he may be laying out in terms of vision casting? Does he have something up his sleeve? We've seen SEC Media Days give us some surprises before. We got the leak with Texas and Oklahoma a couple of years ago. We've gotten during the Texas A&M day, which of course was definitely not intentional at all.
Right.
And we've seen some big announcements from Sankey in terms of the direction of the league, so on and so forth. I'll be interested to see, does he have something up his sleeve to kind of regain his footing, if you will?
Does he sunset the SEC championship game?
I don't think so, not yet.
I don't think so, but I think it's coming.
Big splash, sure.
But my bigger question is, how much longer is Greg Sankey going to be the commissioner of the SEC?
Yeah,
I think Greg's done a lot of good for the sport. He's done a lot of good, but he does not have what Mike Slide always had. Mike Slide had absolute, I won't say absolute authority, but he had the ability, he had command of the room, he had command of the athletic directors, he had command of the university presidents. I don't think that's possible anymore. And I just wonder how much longer he'll be there. But I am interested to hear from him tomorrow to really see kind of what sort of tone, what are the talking point as we go and set forth for the week.
Worth mentioning he is contracted through 2028, so we'll see how that continues to play out. A lot of fun stuff going to happen this week, Craig, and we will get to recap it next week. Fingers crossed, as it stands today, Marler should be here with us. He's on site, so we'll get a couple of things from him as well. We thank everybody for being here. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad to have you back, and shout out to our good friend Casey Cregan for being here. As always, is SEC Sunday Night on the Chief Sports Network, and we'll see you next time.